All right, thanks for being here. Let's begin. And we'll simply foreground our breathing, however it is that we choose to breathe. And just remembering that whether you work immediately with Ujjayi or an opened air pathway, expanding the ribs, recruiting the low belly muscles, are options. And as soon as you bring in the Ujjayi breath, there's another activity of the pelvic floor that becomes involved. So if you're choosing a non-Ujjayi breath to work with, learn if you can maintain that way that you're working with it for the next so many moments. And if you're choosing Ujjayi as your way of breathing and noticing your breath, and find out if you can work with that Ujjayi for the remainder of your practice. So noticing if you kind of weave in and out or forget, remember. So we'll just start with a round of Uddiyana. So for a moment, we'll kind of be shifted out of Ujjayi. And let's just keep the legs crossed as they are. We'll do 2 rounds, so we'll get a chance to change sides. Okay, use fingertips. We'll press down today, pressing down as we inhale. And then hold, holding the breath. And bring the hands forward, swift, thorough exhalation. Spreading the foot bones. Keeping some aliveness, awareness in the feet. Pull the belly in. And lift. When I say belly, it's the perineum. That more inner space, the pelvis and the abdomen. So there's a physical maneuver that's helping us contact an inner space. So we're moving physical structure and sensing interior, non-structured space, non-anatomically structured space. And then release when you need a breath. Let's switch the cross of legs and let's put one more detail into this. I'm going to turn sideways. So you can see that my head and my neck are not moving forward or backward. And before we do our second round of Uddiyana, I'm just going to use one hand at the back of the head and one hand at the forehead. The object isn't to create maximal muscle engagement around the neck. And the objective for the moment is just to not really move the head forward or backward in space. But as you're inhaling, just notice whatever you can notice in your upper ribs. If they move, how much they move. Okay, and then just as you're exhaling, just let it out. Okay. So again, without moving the head forward, without efforting maximally, imagine you're kind of pushing your forehead softly into your hand in front. And then inhale again. Find out how those very high up ribs, the top of the ribs, how they shift or move, if they do. And I will hold breath. We'll bring the hands down to the floor, create another little press. And then hands forward. Exhale, swift, thorough exhalation. Feet active, stay empty. And we'll draw the belly in. So start at the perineum, the physical structure. And as you're articulating it and moving, lift up and start to sense through the space of the body. Some physical structure may move, some internal sense of space may arise. Both can be true. So you might feel a little bit of structure moving and then kind of riding through this interior space. Release whenever you need breath. Then we'll uncross legs. And I don't know if you need to see me or want to see me first, but I'm going to lie back. Again, with my head kind of sandwiched between my palms. One hand at the back, one hand at the forehead front. And I just want you to be able to take a couple of breaths where your forehead is softly lifting or pressing up into the palm. And I'll do it right now, and you'll notice there's really no physical head movement. So it's not like my forehead is moving to my groin or the back of my head is lifting off the ground. It's just a very, very subtle play in the neck flexors. All right, we're going to lie back and we'll get a couple just exploratory breaths, and then we'll do some abdominal stuff. I'm trying to leave it a little bit free of expectation, just so you can feel and figure out what's your neck and your ribs are, what they're doing. So I have my one hand on the back of my head and my other palm on my forehead. I don't think it matters which. I put my knees bent, feet on the ground, just so I can feel what my ribs are doing. And if your forehead had met a little bit of resistance, like as if I tried to pick my head up off the ground, but it didn't go. And then how would I inhale? How would that inhale feel? How do the ribs move? You might need just a couple breath moments, so I'll just leave a little empty space here. Just one or two more breaths. The objective right now is not to move the head, but you may be activating some different musculature around the skull and the neck and maybe the ribs. Maybe you can get a sense of what that is or where that is. Maybe you can feel a little bit of shift. And does this movement have anything to do with your respiration? Okay. So, did anyone notice, this is a rhetorical question, that as you exerted forehead pressure toward the sky without moving the head, did you notice what happened to your low back on the ground? Did you notice or feel what happened on the inspiration and those inspiration muscles, upper ribs? Okay, so as we move through our abdominals, I want to suggest that it's not just that we're picking the head up with the hands, but that you can activate or not activate those neck flexors more or less. Okay. So let's bring the feet off the ground. And here we go. So inhale. We'll float the head and shoulder blades up. Maybe you can feel those same muscles now that the head's moving up off the ground. Curl tailbone. And now exhale, send the left leg out, spreading the ball mounds, the toe pads, the foot bones, and then drawing the low belly in. And even though you're not picking your head up more, you can still kind of forehead to the sky. Inhale, bend the left knee. Curl tailbone. And now exhale, right leg reach out. Okay, spread the ball mounds, the toe pads, the foot bones. Pull low belly down. Little forehead to sky. Inhale, bend the right knee. Curl tailbone. And now exhale, reach out through the left leg. Now, feel free to play, because this cue is a little different than we usually do, pulling the low belly down. Sometimes you can relax the head into your hand. That has benefit. Inhale, bend the left knee. Curl tailbone, and now exhale, reach out through the right leg. And as you're pulling the belly down, you can try around where you're relaxing the head into the hands. And now inhale, bending the right knee. Let's do like 3 more to each side. You may discover that what happens in your low back and in your ribs is benefited by engaging those neck flexors. It's the intimated movement, well, as if your forehead is pushing on a cloud. But however you're working, get the shoulder blades off the ground. That's kind of the point. It's kind of the point. So with all of these, we're trying to do something specific with the low back. And if we let our shoulder blades hang back, we don't get the same engagement through the spine, the abs. So shoulder blades up, elbows up. Yep. You know, we do a lot to relax the neck, but sometimes it's very beneficial to learn how to use and feel the really deep neck structures in order to feel if they're truly being choicefully articulated or habitually worked. Let's grab an object for the inner thighs to play with. If you're using a roll or a block. So what I'm suggesting that we can play with in terms of the neck, with these abdominals, leaves our neck completely free of being pulled or stretched. So it's just finding the deeper musculature nearer to the spine, deeply related to the jaw and the low back and the upper ribs. We don't have to move our neck or our head to find them, to feel them. Inhale into the low belly and the low back. As you're inhaling, just notice if you're pushing your head back into the ground or if you're trying to push your forehead into a cloud. Just notice what you're doing, if you're doing something. Squeeze the object, curl tailbone, and now exhale. Float the head and the shoulder blades up. Pull low belly down. Inhale. Let the back of the head toward the ground. The leg efforts come off the prop a little bit. Squeeze the object. Curl tailbone. Exhale. Forehead to sky. Pull low belly down. Inhale, back of head toward the ground. Squeeze the object. Curl tailbone. And now exhale. Pull low belly down. All right. Let's continue. We'll do like 3 more. And the offering is, notice what's happening in the neck. Deep, deep neck, as near to the neck bones as you can feel. Notice if there's a seizing up or a push-pull or a question mark. Notice if there's a sense of confusion or lethargy, or just notice whatever you notice along the deep and near region of the neck. What do you feel happening with your respiration? If you're working Ujjayi, you may feel something very different than if you're working outside of Ujjayi. So know how you're breathing. Know exactly what are you feeling? When you're entirely through, we'll remove the prop. We'll set up for, we'll do some downward dog. So if you need to set your downward dog up higher on, say, blocks or some other prop, set that up. Let me use the ground. There we go. We start from hands and knees. The hands are basically under the shoulder, the knees, basically under the hips. Can you sense weight in the inner part of the palm? The thumb, index side. When you're ready, exhale, knees off ground, downward dog. Now your head is freely hanging. There's nothing that it's pushing against or nothing that's pushing on it. Can you feel if your head is hanging down relative to your chest? Can you feel if your neck is just kind of continues through to your spine? Can you feel where your neck is in space relative to your torso? I'm not suggesting there's a good place or a right place. I'm just posing the question, can you feel if your head is kind of nearer to your chest or where? Now, without pressing on anything, without moving your head, Can you start to activate or play with the muscles of, if something was on my forehead, I could push my forehead into that object. Similarly, if something were touching the back of my head, could I touch the back of my head into that object? And just go very, very subtly, just barely enough to notice movement occurring. And can you feel what this starts to do in respiration? So breathe as you're doing it. Can you feel what starts to happen in and through the rest of your spine? So again, we're not lifting the head, we're not moving the head, we're simply trying to notice where the neck and the head are. And can we enact these tiny bits of motion through the front and the back of the neck? So one last time, if something was touching the forehead, and we just started to hint at some effort, inhale, breathe as you're doing that. Does your shoulder position start to change, modify? And if there was something at the back of your head, and you just started to hint at touching the back of your head into this object. And then relaxing through the neck. Is it possible to notice the relax of the neck? We'll release the knees down to the ground. So everything that we're doing today is there's some muscular basis for it, but I'm not asking you to do any like neck movements like sliding or wagging or any such. It's just very quiet noticing the stirrings of movement. Okay? So let's stand. Grab your object for standing back bend. So your block or your roll. I would prefer a roll if I had one. I do, I guess. Something round. All right. And then with hands on hips. And through all of this, we're noticing if we're doing this with Ujjayi or not Ujjayi. Or maybe you're kind of fluctuating in and out. I would suggest choose a path and just stay with it for all of these different positions. So if you were in Ujjayi, just feel how all of this goes in Ujjayi. We can always do it again a different way. Okay, so hands on hips. Just creating a little bit of inner leg involvement. And then inhaling, the ribs telescope up, the hands press down atop the hips. Now exhale, gather the elbows toward the back of the body. Give them a little squeeze back. Now from the standing position, again, we're not moving the head, we're not moving it forward, we're not moving it through space backward. The head is not moving in space, forward or backward. We take 1 or 2 breaths. Imagine as if the back of your head were touching something. And just barely the stirrings of if my head were moving back. Taking a couple more breaths with the forehead. I'm just imagining. My head's not moving in space, but if I started to wanted to move my head forward, This is about noticing and feeling the deep, deep structure of the neck. Noticing your respiration. Breathe well, breathe deeply. Okay, and release. Let the prop go. Hands relax. Okay. So we'll take the right hand to the inside of the right foot. Standing alternate twist. Okay. Now I'm just starting off with my eyes facing the direction my toes are. When you decide to work this left arm back, you'll just smoothly let the eyes, and of course head and neck, take another position. Inhaling, let the eyes and the head move back in the direction your right foot is. And we'll set the foot down. Okay? We'll do the other side. So just letting any new neck awareness just flood into the poses. I'm taking the left hand to the inside of the left foot. When you decide to reach the right arm back, let the eyes smoothly find a new spot, and with the eyes, the head, and with the head, the neck. I'm not suggesting what to do with the neck or the head, just letting all that new, fresh neck awareness just help you organize. A lot of balance is what happens between our ears. And then inhale, let the eyes, the head travel back toward where the left foot is, and set the foot down. We'll stand at the top. Now, again, I'm not suggesting very large eye or head or neck movements, but the subtlest ones can be really sweet. We're going to move through some suns. You can work with the eye movement if that feels good. You can move with the move the eyes and a little bit with the head, just enough to explore the neck. But I'm not making large, what do you call, extension, like head up or head back motions. Just my choice. Okay, so inhale. You can use your eyes and all that next stuff that we did to open up respiration. It's possible. And then exhale, fold. So instead of letting the head drape, maybe I use a little bit of that activity of forehead, as if pressing against something. Lunge. Let's go left foot. Inhale, step the left foot back. Reach back. Reach with the left foot. We'll just throw it back there. Set the hands down. Exhale, the right foot back. Lower. Instead of trying to hold the head off the ground, maybe you actually kind of forehead toward the ground. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, downward dog. Lunge. Inhale, left foot forward. Hands to ground, exhale. Right foot forward, fold. And inhale, stand. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reaching arms up. Exhale, fold. Right foot. Inhale the right foot back. Hands to ground, exhale. Left foot back. Inhale, cobra. Lowering. Exhale, downward dog. Right foot. Inhale the right foot forward. Set the hands down. Exhale the left foot forward. Fold. Inhale, stand, reaching up. And exhale, hands to heart. All right. We're going to go through two more. Entirely optional is what you do with the eyes, how you perceive the head moving through space. You know, we make this remark a lot that it's the inhale, the exhale is generally corresponding with these larger biomechanical matches of the body. When we inhale, we're generally kind of pronouncing and biasing the front of our body. When we're exhaling, we're generally flexing or showing or putting more surface area to the backside of the body. You can involve the head and the neck. Your pace, whenever you're ready. We'll do two more on our own. Just whatever you're doing with the head and the neck, know what you're doing with regard to your breathing. If it's not Ujjayi, that's fine. Stay with not Ujjayi. If it's Ujjayi, great. Stay with Ujjayi. These are factors in how we play with our neck and the upper back. All right. Your pace, your pace. I'm just trying to call up, kind of bring some awareness to where there may be the creation of neck habits. How do we inhabit our neck, our upper back? When we relax our neck, if we've created a habit of relaxing our neck, is it truly inhabiting a relaxed structure, or is it vacating a structure? Is it a habit of vacating the neck? These are the questions we want to get really discerning about with. For some people, relaxing the neck is the thing to do. For some people, it's intimating head flexion, neck flexion. Kind of moving the forehead through space. as long as we know what we're doing, as long as it's our choice. Okay. Good, that's 2. All right. So we'll get to a spot, we'll introduce a few more things into our sun. Inhale as you reach the arms up, intimate the back of the head, just softly pressing into something behind it, like a pillow. Exhale, fold. Imagine the forehead is pushing through a little pillow. Arrow lunge. Inhale, step the left foot back. Set the knee down, the top of the left foot down. And as you're exhaling, pressing the top of the left foot down, just very softly move the back of the head back. I should say, not a movement. I'm not trying to move the neck really at all today. But there's a whole host of spinal structures, repercussions, downstream effects. You may feel much more supported when we support our head and our neck. Just whatever way that you're breathing. If you're breathing in Ujjayi, stay with Ujjayi. If you're breathing outside of Ujjayi, just notice that and making sure that the tension in the neck isn't sneaking in, and that we're not mistaking neck tension for Ujjayi. We'll be kind of cleaning and clearing that up a bunch over the month or so. Okay, so I'm going to softly set the knee down. Inhale, backing the hips and the head up, twisting lunge. Exhale, left elbow over right thigh, left hand fist, right hand press. Now if you want to relax the neck, that's fine. But if you want to hint ever so slightly at the back of the head, pressing against something, and it's just the barest flutterings of movement. It's not tension. We're not trying to make our neck tense. We're just trying to know, how could I move? How would I move? How do I feel through the construct of movement? It's an awareness game, and we're having it through movement. Big ones, small ones, easy ones, hard ones. Twisting, extended lunge. So on your exhale, slide the left armpit down, left hand to ground, right arm overhead. And if you're choosing to let the head go, is that your choice? Is that truly your choice? Because sometimes it's a habit. And unwind for pigeon. Inhale. Walk the right foot across the mat. Lie the shin down. Ensure the knee feels nice in its angle. And now press with the outer right leg into the ground. Press with the outer right leg into the ground. Press with the top of the left leg and foot into the ground. It's almost like you're just creating a little play with the ground. So if you're always just kind of passively laying on the ground, folded up, and maybe that creates some pain for you, maybe change it. Be a little more interactive with the ground, pushing with the legs, creating a little more float and support through the hips structure, the low back structure. So the muscles are working. Like sometimes we just want or need more support. And inhale, walk the hands back under the shoulders. Now when we exhale, slide the right knee under the hips. And now we'll set up dolphin, left leg up. So place the elbows under the shoulders. Move. Gonna glide the shoulders off the neck. If they're really hard to kind of draw down and keep down, maybe your elbows are too close. And exhale the knees off the ground. Okay, left foot. Inhale, raise the left foot up. Okay, I'll just give you a moment here with the left leg up in dolphin. I'm going to watch. Without swinging or lifting or pulling the head through space, you might just subtly intimate that the back of the head is kind of pressing back, touching like a pillow. Something just very soft, very light, very... Okay. Now feel your respiration, and if your respiration is Ujjayi, feel it in Ujjayi. If your respiration is out of Ujjayi, feel the neck outside of Ujjayi. Okay. And feel what the forehead, the flexion, the first little inklings and stirrings of neck flexion do in your dolphin. Feel with your breath, feel with your neck, feel with your leg and your... Okay, we'll set the left foot down. We'll set the knees down. Inhale, hands under shoulders. Exhale, downward dog. Okay, just going to do these few things on the other side. And we start with arrow lunge. Inhale the left foot forward, the right knee, and the top of the right foot down. As you're preparing to press, maybe we put the head into it. Now, as I'm doing it, you'll see and notice my head's not like whiplashing back and forth. It's just enough to feel all those really deep spinal muscles coordinating. And inhaling and softly set that right knee down. Backing the weight up. Twisting lunge. Exhale the right elbow over the left thigh. And if you're choosing to let the head go, we're just trying to observe and notice if the things that we do are a choice, if they're just a habit that we've developed. And we're just imagining these two motions, kind of enacting these two little fluctuations through the neck to help bring awareness to the area. It's not about moving the neck today. Okay. Now, twisting, extended lunge. So as you're exhaling, slide that right armpit down, nearer to the thigh. And exhaling the left arm overhead. And releasing. Not dropping out, not like limping out of the pose, just unwinding. Inhale. Letting the tension come off, come back to center, and pigeon. We're walking the left leg over and lying the outer left leg down on the ground. Once you're assured the knee feels in a good angle, press the outer left leg into the ground. Okay. And send the top of the right leg, that's the quad, that's the top of the right foot, press it into the ground. Hear your Ujjayi breath if that's how you're measuring and noticing things. What I'm describing today, what we've been doing, it's not tucking the chin. It's not we're not trying to flatten our cervical spine. We're just letting everything be curvy where it's curvy. We're letting we're not putting any more tension around the place of swallowing or Ujjayi. We're just trying to help bring awareness through these structures in this area. All right, inhale, the hands under the shoulders. Exhale, slide the left knee back under the hips. There's one more dolphin here, you'll remember. So to set the elbows down and the forearms out. Exhale the knees off the ground. And this time we'll raise or reach the right leg back. Okay, and just play, feel, check with your head position. Sometimes relaxing the neck or similarly vacating the neck will render the head dropped down between the elbows, which may be slight closure in your windpipe area, the front of your neck. Maybe some of those neck muscles actually help you raise that right leg differently. Again, it's the leg. We're not raising the head. We're just playing around with all those wonderful deep respiratory jaw, neck, vestibular muscles near the neck bones. All right, we'll set the right foot down, the right knee down, and we'll exit dolphin. All right. Just need a brief explore of the neck today, and that's plenty. Let's lie back. So, when you do lie back, Any little final adjustments to your head placement on the ground. And sometimes I'll just play around with like sandwiching my head, forehead and back of head. And just very, very lightly. And I can't emphasize that enough. The light, it matters. I'm not trying to put tension into the discs and neck. Sometimes that little bit of back and forth. We'll just set the spine up really nicely. It's different than trying to lift or pull the neck. All right. Once you have your head where you like it, and set the feet down, the shoulders relax back toward the ground. And if you usually rest with your hands on your torso, try to let the arms go more toward the ground beside you. So the weight of the arms can just draw the structure of the shoulder toward the ground. And let yourself feel as clearly as you can sense the area of the collarbone, which is where the wind and the breath of the body starts to interact with the vocal, very rich hormonal area, the vocal area, the place where our voice can have great resonance, clarity, cleanness. It's letting yourself explore and feel the mind of your voice. It's feeling the space of your voice. Using your mind's ear and your mind's voice to just hear. I'm using the word hear very esoterically and generally. It's that inner hearing of your own voice area. If you had been using Ujjayi, relax the Ujjayi stricture. Okay. When you're ready, bend knees. Turn to a side. Use both hands. And press. What did we do with that neck on the way up? Who knows? Namaste. All right.